What's going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this Alabama-Georgia college football championship game. This is going to be something that the Catch is focused on a little bit more going forward throughout the offseason is these college prospects, the guys that are going to be entering the 2022 NFL draft. And in this Alabama-Georgia matchup, there's a ton of talent, ton of opportunities here for them to improve their draft stock as well before April. And so we're going to go over 6 guys that I really like in this game that I want you guys to be paying attention to while watching this game, because very soon they could be either on your NFL teams or they could be on your fantasy mock boards next offseason. I have to start with offensive tackle for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Evan Neal. This guy is my highest graded player in this game. I expect him to be a top 5 draft pick for sure. I actually personally think he is going to be going to the Houston Texans here. I think it's a great fit for them, but wherever he goes, he is going to be able to shore up the offensive line without question. This guy is huge, man. You will be able to see it when you watch this game. This guy is a huge frame, super flexible, and he can really get it done. He's an absolute freak athlete, which is what coming into the season really made him such an attractive player. But then we saw the tape, right? We saw this guy's stats. He's one of the highest PFF graded lineman in the game right now, gives up very few pressures, under 20, and he also is a very low penalized player, right? Only 1 penalty on the season too. So this guy is an absolute gem. What I think is just a guy who is an absolute plug and play. Don't even worry about it. Offensive tackle in the NFL. So let's see it. Let's see him get it done against Georgia in this big matchup. Up next, we got a stud receiver for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jameson Williams, 1,500 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns. Man, I love this guy. He's in that trench of like the top 3 receivers that can go off the board really in any order. I mean, I think it's probably Garrett Wilson, wide receiver for the Ohio State, that's going to be the first off the board. But this guy's a freak athlete, right? Obviously, he has the numbers to back it up. Him and Bryce Young got it done all season long. I expect him to have a very good game in this Georgia game, and I need him to too, right? I want him to submit himself as a top draft pick this year. I think this is a great opportunity to do that, because if he comes out here, lights up the board, has a great game, this is something that can really submit him as the top receiver in my mind, or at least get him into that top 2, no questions asked, right? So while you're watching this game, definitely keep an eye on this guy. If it doesn't already get pointed out by the commentators as he makes splash play by splash play, he's an absolute stud. Love his route running, love his hands, and love how explosive this guy is once he gets the ball in his hands. And we know Alabama, man. We know how they push out receivers, right? Whether it's Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Smith, they know how to coach up receivers and get them NFL ready. And I don't think it's going to be any different with Jameson Williams, right? And we're not going to talk about it today's video, but Mechie the third for Alabama as well. He's a guy who I like a lot coming out of this Crimson Tide team coming into the 2022 NFL draft as well. Last guy we're going to talk about on the Alabama side of the ball is Jordan Battle, safety. My second favorite safety, just behind Hamilton for Notre Dame, who, I mean, you can't really argue against him, dude. He's going to be a top maybe 8 pick, top 6 pick at worst, right? Absolute stud in Notre Dame. But Jordan Battle's a stud too. 80 tackles, 3 picks. This guy can get after the quarterback too. He can pass rush. This is a guy that we're seeing maybe come into the league more and more, right? A guy that can get down and dirty in the run game, come in and smash your ball carrier in the face, not afraid of hitting, but he's also very flexible in the pass game too. He can go out, he can cover, he can go out and make some plays with his hands too. He's a playmaker, right? 3 picks, 5 picks throughout his career too, right? So this guy is not averse from going after the ball. They coach that in Alabama too. They coach making some big plays and being a drive stopper. We're going to hear that a lot over the offseason is me talk about drive stoppers. And that's Jordan Battle. This is a guy who can turn the game on its head. And I expect him to have a big game against Georgia this week. Up next, we're going to talk about my number 2 linebacker in the draft, man, Niko Dean for the Georgia Bulldogs. I cannot say enough good things about this guy. 70 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 picks. This guy, I mean, I don't know, right? My early player comparison for him right now is a Devin White type of guy. Real explosive, real mobile, 3-down linebacker that can cover and can also make any play in the run game as well, right? I love this dude. He is just such a good flex play. He can get after a pass rush to quarterback too. Man, we have seen it in the game, right? We've seen it in the NFL now, how important the linebacker position really is, right? They can change a defense, right? Set the tone, and that's what Niko Dean does. He sets the tone. He's a drive stopper, guys. Niko Dean is an absolute gem of a linebacker. Any team that gets him in the 2022 NFL draft, It's just getting a surefire lock in their lineups. They can start him year one, game one. He's going to be a stud, and he's going to improve whatever defense he goes to. Oh, yeah, baby. Jordan Davis, interior defensive lineman for the Georgia Bulldogs, the 2021 Outland Trophy, 2021 Chuck Benederick Award winner. This guy is an absolute beast, man. Built like a shit brick house. This guy can come in there, dirty up your O-line. We know these Georgia Bulldogs as being fearsome up front, right? This D-line for the Georgia Bulldogs is why they are in the championship. They just control the line of scrimmage. They are a truly NFL-ready defensive front with a ton of guys that are going to go high in the 2022 NFL draft. But it all starts here with Jordan Davis. This guy is an absolute machine. Look at this dude's arms. Just built like a machine, right? He stops the drive. He is a guy who can get after the quarterback, gets a lot of pass rushes, but more than that too, he just shuts down the run game as well, eats up a ton of offensive lineman protection to really free up those linebackers like a Niko Dean to make plays, right? So I think this guy is going to be an absolute stud in the NFL, and I think he's going to have a really good game against Alabama. He's going to be really needed against Alabama because both these teams like to play up front. They like to smash mouth football. Up next, the last guy we're going to talk about in today's video is George Pickens, junior wide receiver for the Bulldogs. This is right now a second-round pick type of draft grade going on around George Pickens, but it's really disappointing because I think this guy, he had the ACL injury. This guy would have been a first-round draft pick without the injury and just with a little bit more production on the field. I think this guy's an absolute stud. I want to see him have a good game here, man. I really do. I think this is a game where George Pickens, if he comes out here and lights it up, he can really slip into that first-round pick because he has got a great build, 6'3", 200 pounds, built like a machine, right? This is built like a great receiver, right? And he's got all the intangibles coming from a family of football too. And we saw, right? If you guys have not already seen, look it up, that George Pickens, Michigan's highlight where he picks up the corner and just throws him, right? I mean, this guy really has the build for it. So just keep an eye on him. The reason I highlighted him is because I think this is a guy who can maybe raise his draft stock more than anybody else for the Georgia Bulldogs in this one if he comes out here and has a really good game against Alabama. And a couple other guys, honorable mention, that you need to be monitoring, especially in the Georgia Bulldog side of the things, right? Safety, Lewis Cine, absolute stud at the safety position. Not in my top two, right? At the safety spot, I really have Jordan Battle and Hamilton there. But also you've got edge rusher Trayvon Walker for the Georgia Bulldogs and defensive interior Devontae Wyatt. These guys are also studs and really kind of have a firm grasp on their draft stock right now. So I think George Pickens is a guy who can maybe raise it a little bit more, right? And then on the Alabama side of it too, a little honorable mentions, guys to watch out for. Cornerback Josh Joby and running back Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson Jr. is a guy with a lot of tread left on his wheels. Running back who is finally getting his chance for Alabama to prove how good he is. We all know what Alabama does with running backs, right? Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram. We've seen a bunch of them come out, right? This is a guy who could be like a TJ Yeldon too. He can actually get it done on all downs as well. So, guys, this Alabama-Georgia game, it's going to be a ton of fun. Like I said, the catch, we're going to be trying to focus more and more content on college football over the offseason just to get you guys ready for the 2022 NFL draft. So this is the first video, right? This is the first college video, guys. I really hope you appreciated it. Please let me know in the comments what you think about all these players, what you think about this game, Georgia, Alabama. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think it's going to be a good one? And let us also know about what kind of content you would want to see on the college side of the ball as well, right? Because we know it. There's a lot of fans of college football too. So we want to let you guys know that we are here to give you the content that you want. But we also know that these guys are going to be sooner rather than later very NFL relevant, whether it's the 2022 NFL draft or the 2022 fantasy football draft, right? So we want to also be very aware of how good these guys are for you and your teams or your fantasy football teams. With that said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And remember, you saw it here first at The Catch.